No, there's a credit consumers law. She's talking about a credit consumers law. I do have, I think I have a copy of the law in the Women's Bureau Handbook. I don't have the stipulation of that law in this manpower copy that I have here. So I'm not sure what that law stipulates with regard to that specification. But you can find that full law quoted in the Women's Handbook from the from the U.S. Department of Labor for 1975, and you can get it from the U.S. Department of Labor, the Women's Bureau. Just write to Carmen Maimie, and you can get a copy of it. The law is cited in there. I'm sorry, I don't remember specifications of that law. Yes? But there's a requirement. But there have been some changes in the legislation. I don't know what that is.
I think we've been very demanding on Ms. Sizemore's time today, so if someone has just one very important question that they feel they just have to ask tonight, let's take just one more, and then I would like to extend to you and in okay, I want to extend this invitation, and then you say your last question, and we will stop at that point. After this session tonight, all of you are invited to the Black Culture Center at 517 Welch Street. Okay. Oh, in Ames we call them avenues. Okay. For refreshments, non-alcoholic.
Well, questions like that always worry me, because there was a time when I thought Buck Rogers was fiction. And, but now we did it, see? And when I think about, I went to the National Museum of Space and Aeronautics in Washington, D.C. the other day, and I was overwhelmed by the technology that I just do not understand at all. That technology that will take a human being to the moon, put him down, let him walk across it, bring him back. Docking equipment that allows us to meet each other in outer space. Plans in the National Museum for colonies on the moon, if you please, after the earth is all polluted and unfit to live in. And I feel that if we can do all that, we can eliminate poverty. Now that's my feeling about it. There's just so much profit in having poor people that the people who make the money off of them are unwilling to give it up.
Yes. So how do you, that's my question, that's where it lies. How does one get a
Well, my suggestion to my community, my black community, was don't buy any whiskey in November and December. Now I'll tell you what's going to happen. The whiskey lobby that provides your alcoholic congressmen with free booze is going to go up there and tell those congressmen, if you don't do something for those black people, you're going to lose your booze. The whiskey lobby is very powerful. That's one thing I've learned since living in Washington, D.C., was how our government works. It doesn't work anything like your teachers taught you in high school. No, no. If you think I lied to you, come to Washington, spend 3 months, and spend all 3 months up on the Hill watching our Congress. And you're going to get a little sick. They don't show up for bills that you feel are important. You go and you sit there all day long and you see 6, one down there having a filibuster all by himself while the others are drinking Bloody Marys, which start, by the way, at 9 in the morning. A lot of people think that the recent escapades that have happened with regard to Watergate, the reflecting pool, and secretarial sex are uncommon. They are not. They are very common. So if you bring pressure on an important lobby, that lobby brings pressure on your congressman, and you'd be surprised how legislation gets through. So the vote and the dollar are not used wisely because Americans do not understand capitalism. That's just a simple fact. Poor people go to school because they want to get out of poverty. And poor people have this idea that the way you escape from poverty is to get an education. So they come to school to learn how to make money. The last person in the world who knows about that is a teacher. Teachers haven't the slightest idea how you make money. If they did, they wouldn't be teaching school. If you notice that during the time you have been in school, you never learned about capitalism in school. You learned about democracy, how to be a good citizen, but nobody ever taught you what a mutual fund meant, securities, or bonds, or why you should invest them. Do you know the school teachers in New York City were still buying tax-sheltered annuities when they were losing money? Do you know that most school teachers do not know what Dow Jones means and cannot read the stock market page and couldn't find Aerojet in there if you paid them $1,000 to locate it and tell you what it said? Nobody teaches you that. And the very essence of this culture is capitalism. This country is not a democracy yet, still struggling, but capitalism it is. That people tell me, black people tell me all about being black and how important it is for us to get together, and they come up to get me in their Mercedes-Benz. That tells me a lot about that black person. Mercedes-Benz doesn't hire one single black person in its plant in Germany. Not even black Germans. Oh no, there's some left over there from World War II and the other wars and the occupation armies. Oh yeah, they're black Germans, speak very good German. Write it too, don't work for Mercedes-Benz. Okay? So the problem is that most Americans who are poor, or excluded, or disadvantaged, or deprived, do not understand capitalism and how dollars are distributed. So the solutions to the problems never become available to the people because the problem is never properly defined. It's like I'm sitting in a room with my coat on. I'm huddled up, the windows are up, and the snow is blowing in, and you come in and you say, why doesn't this fool close the window? To yourself, of course. And you go down and you close the windows. The room gets warmer. I continue to huddle in my coat in the room, and I begin to perspire profusely. And then you said, I know she's crazy now because it's warm in here. Why doesn't she take off the coat? Well, if the back end of my dress is torn open, I'm not going to take my coat off. You didn't define my problem. So you had the wrong solution. It was the right solution for a cold room, but it was the wrong solution for my removing my coat. And it's the same way with people attacking the problem of poverty. They define the problem wrong. So the solutions are always inadequate. And then we expect the people who are making the money off of the condition to remove the condition. Who ever heard of that? If I'm stealing your checks out of your mailbox every time you get one, I'm going to come and tell you, hey, look, I got your checks, honey. No. So until people who are disadvantaged by a system decide to use the weapons the system gives them to change it, then it will not change. And those two weapons are votes and dollars. That's why I get very discouraged about people who tell me, well, I'm not going to vote because both of these candidates for president are stupid. Well, you better vote for one of them. Vote for one that's the least. And spend your dollars where the dollars support you. If women spend more money than men, because most of the time women spend the money the men bring home if they're wives. So the woman is in charge of the consumer part, not the producer, but the consumer part. That's a lot of power. That's a lot of power. You could ruin a television station or a newspaper. Just don't buy what they say buy. Buy something else. If a television program comes on you don't like and they sell Winters pencils, try not buying Winters pencils. See what happens. Or don't look at the television show and let the ratings go down. It'll be off in 5 days. But it takes the mobilization of the bias of a group of people with common interests in order to wield these individual units of power into a collectivity that can bring enough pressure upon the system to make it change. And so poverty will never be eliminated until all of the people who are victims see it as a common issue and bring together their individual collective units in terms of votes and dollars to put pressure upon the system to change. And that's when it will be eliminated.